It feels like we're, I don't know, coming home a little bit or closing a chapter, something like that.
Yeah.
Excellent. We have to wait for a bridge to open to get there. That's going to be interesting. We haven't had to do that yet.
I don't want to look at it because it makes me nervous that something happened to Talia. It doesn't look good so far. I've heard noises and screaming.
Here we come!
Good morning everyone! So we are leaving today the Two Rocks Bay. We spent 2 nights here and I must admit I'm a little bit sad to leave this place.
So today we're going to head down to Preveza, to the marine capital of the Ionian Sea. So Preveza and Lefkas is actually where our journey for Talia all began.
Exactly.
So it was back in late 2019 where we flew from Belgium to Thessaloniki and jumped in a car and headed over to Preveza to start looking for boats. It feels like we're, I don't know, coming home a little bit or closing a chapter, something like that. But what I'm most excited about is getting to Town Quay and hopefully having a full night of rest without too much movement. Now I know, of course, down in the comments section people are going to say, well, you should buy a catamaran or you should buy an RV. But the reality is we are pretty exhausted after having a few nights without much sleep. And the good thing about sailing in this part of the world is you're not too far away from a harbour or a town quay.
Yeah.
So let's cross our fingers and hope that we'll get a good night's sleep tonight. Entering into Preveza is going to be an interesting story because they've got a long dredged channel to enter into Preveza, and by the looks of things on Navionics it looks quite narrow. And we should be in for quite a bit of wind on the entry there, so it's forecasted to be anyway. Let's get there sooner rather than later and have some fun.
Yes, it's 8. We should be there. We counted like 5 hours, right?
I think it's almost 9 now. Yeah, it should be 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, so we should arrive around 2 in the afternoon, so which is quite decent. Alright, let's do that then.
Let's do it.
See you later. Hey guys. So I realized, and I'm so sorry, that we haven't recorded anything from the moment we left Two Rocks Bay till Preveza here. I'm really sorry, but you know, there are some days Luke and I, we just don't feel like recording because clearly we were exhausted and we just wanted to relax, have a nice sail and not taking care of the cameras and all that stuff. Yeah, we had a lovely sail. We actually motor sailed from the previous place till here. It was nice. It took us like 5 hours to arrive here. All good. So we moored in on the Town Quay here in Preveza. I must admit that I feel a bit scared because it's a bit rolly and I have a strange feeling that the night is gonna be like in Santa Maria de Luca and that I'm not gonna sleep that much. We'll see. It all depends on the wind and hopefully it should be fine. Meanwhile, we have some friends from Marina de Ragusa that just arrived here, Starlight Tree. Hello, by the way, if you're looking at this video. And we're gonna go and have a drink with them, just relax, have a nice evening and just enjoy.
We visited Preveza and Lefkas for the first time in winter 2019 while shopping around for a boat. We loved the vibe of this place. While we didn't find the boat of our dreams during the visit, we promised each other that one day we'd sail back here.
A simple taste.
croquette. Ah, kefa lotiri. Is that fried yellow cheese we ate when we were in Gaios?
Could be.
You remember we thought it was feta,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. That was good. They have.
Wow.
The first user for 2021.
Perfect, it is our first Uzo for 2021. You ready? Cheers. Marinated anchovies, otherwise known as Preveza sushi. Excellent. And I hate anchovies. But they're actually quite good. Preveza has some of the biggest shipyards and marinas in the Ionian Sea, making it a popular base for sailors from all over the world. With a vibrant quayside lifestyle and an abundance of cafes and restaurants, we found Preveza to be a convenient stopover, but we probably wouldn't spend extended periods on the town quay because of its afternoon cross-current and the opposing prevailing winds. So after a very early start here in Preveza this morning, I think we were up at 5 o'clock with the sloshing on the transom. Not that we're really not used to it, it's becoming a regular occurrence and we're compensating for it by going to bed when the sun goes down and waking up when the sun comes up, and hopefully that does the trick and gives us enough sleep. But this morning we've waited for the supermarkets to open here in Preveza so we can re-provision. We're going to take off to Lefkas Town Quay this morning, and we have to wait for a bridge to open to get there. That's going to be interesting. We haven't had to do that yet. So we're going to take off in about 30 odd minutes. Laure is out getting some documents printed for administration, and I've prepped the boat. We're also waiting for a guy with a mini tanker here in Preveza to come by and top up our diesel tank. Hopefully he gets here by 9:30. If not, like I said to him on the phone, we're gonna be out of here. So let's see and cross our fingers and hope we get to Lefkas Town Quay nice and safely, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more protected from the surge than here in Preveza. Lefkas, here we come! We've been getting loads of questions regarding the headsets that we use, so we've become massive fans of our Sena headsets. It's definitely become one of our top 3 favourite gadgets on board. Anchorages are notorious for raised voices when dropping or raising the anchor. Not on the good ship Talia. More details in the description down below. So we made it out of that tight space in Preveza with a bit of a crosswind, and we didn't crash into anyone, and we pulled up the anchor in time. Everything went really, really well. So I gotta say a big thank you to the lady behind the camera for that. And babe, I need to pay attention because we're in the middle of a channel and I'm really not paying attention. So in this channel, as you enter or exit Preveza, they've dredged between the green and red markers here. It's all well and good until you realize that there's actually a bit of a cross current, so you've really got to pay attention because you're not going in a straight line, you're drifting. The depth actually creeps up pretty quickly, like we were in, what, 12 meters in the middle of the channel, and then as you drift a little bit, all of a sudden you've got 7 meters under you and you're like, wow, where did that come from? So yeah, you really have to focus going through this channel. And apparently we've got another one we've got to go through as we get into Lefkas after we pass the bridge. We'll see, we'll be fine, just gotta focus. No drinking at sea for you today, you salty blonde pirate.
So we're gonna go to the town key of Lefkas, and for that we have to cross a bridge, which is a first for us. So we're gonna go under the bridge. The bridge has to open. We should be there in time, so that's pretty good. And then we'll go to the town key, and we'll have a busy day today because we have to work on the next YouTube episode. We did grocery shopping this morning in Preveza. Yeah, that's it. I'm quite happy to go to Lefkas. It's a nice little town, just like Preveza. We have a good weather. We had a bit of rain earlier, but not much, so it's all right. And we have the head sail unfurled, and we are doing 6 knots, but I think there is no wind. What's the wind?
4.5 knots.
Yeah, we have 4.5 knots of wind, so it's like nothing. So we have to, of course, motor sailing.
Yep, we made it into Lefkas, onto the town quay here, and it was tricky because we did have quite a bit of crosswind. We had about 15 knots of crosswind, so the first attempt, so yeah, for the first time med-mooring we had to make more than one attempt. So the first attempt we came back, so the anchor was set, we came back and the wind, and I think it was also my prop walk because for one moment I disengaged reverse. So the moment I engaged it again, the prop walk had us moving to port. We started flirting with this Oceanus 46 next to us, and I said, yeah, that's not going to work. I can't correct that prop walk in such close proximity. So we went back out with the anchor still set and the chain sort of meandering underneath us, and then I corrected the prop walk out there with a lot of power and putting the helm over to starboard. So I watched the bow getting to the right position, and I said, okay, we're in a straight line now, and we tried it again. We came back at a nice angle, and thank heavens a guy walking past came over and took our stern lines, because I'd asked Laure as we were coming back, okay, the anchor seems to be at a good distance, get ready to come back and jump on the dock. And then you would have taken the starboard stern line, the windward line, and locked us off. But yeah, we're lucky that each time we've med-moored, there's been somebody to take our lines.
Yeah.
But in any case, I could feel the anchor was controlling the bow as we were going back, because there was a little bit of pressure as you were letting loose more and more chain. But then when we got to a sort of distance where I thought you could jump from and there we would be close enough. The thing is, that would have to be a super quick maneuver. If I could keep it in reverse the whole time and just sort of have a nice safe distance from the key, that'd be perfect. But I think in reality, we would either have too much chain or no, we did it right. We just keep letting out just a little bit more chain, just enough to get us close. But ideally, obviously you don't want to touch the dock. So my only concern is if we had let out too much chain, I would have to disengage reverse, and that means the moment that I wanted to engage it again, because the weight of the chain would start pulling the boat out that way, the prop walk would have us going over there again.
But it didn't, and we made it.
Yeah. I think the trick there really is, though, letting out the chain progressively, just so the power of reverse is stretching the chain enough for you to get a decent distance from the key, and then you take the windward line, lock us off, and we would be in business. But overall, I'm satisfied. Went well. We are now in Lefkas. Oh man, I would kill for a beer right now, but I've got to start editing this week's episode.
After the episode.
Yeah, let's have a beer tonight.
Good job.
So I'm working away here, and this nor'wester has picked up in the afternoon, just like it does every afternoon here. And I've just tied off a spring line, I'll show you, just to keep the boat under control. We're being hit by about 25 knots here of wind when it gusts up. It's not the end of the world, but it's just a weird feeling when you've med-moored with the anchor as your bow line, as the only thing holding the bow. And now, of course, as if by magic, the wind has completely died down. It seems like the wind might be a little bit camera shy, but it is a strange thing. You know, I'm just very, very conscious of the pressure, right? There's all that pressure being pulled on the anchor already just by the stern lines. And then I've put a secondary line, or I suppose it's technically the third line, off the amidships cleat over to the far angle there, in order to just give us a bit of extra support when that nor'wester is pushing on the port side of the boat. But now the wind has died down to 13 knots. I think we can be okay for the moment. Yeah, just conscious of what could happen if the anchor starts dragging, and I suppose we would just butt up nicely against the town quay here behind me. It's really not the end of the world, and frankly I've seen it happen, and in fact if we look next door, we've seen it happen there. It's just then you've got to go to the hassle of re-anchoring and doing the whole procedure again, and I can tell you right now, I wouldn't want to be doing that in 25 knots of cross breeze. Anyway, I'm back to working on this week's episode. So we'll take you for a walk through Lefkada, or Lefkas as it's known, a little bit later this afternoon. So here we are in downtown Lefkas. This city is actually fantastic in terms of chandleries and marine products. I finally picked up my 12-volt marine plug, or cigarette lighter plug, so I can connect that to the inverter, and hopefully that won't melt as quickly as the other one did. This place is beautiful but surprisingly quiet, right?
Because all the shops and restaurants and bars, they close from like 2 till 6 in the afternoon.
Right.
And they just reopened.
Yeah, it's just after 6 o'clock now, so everything's only just starting to emerge.
Right.
But it's a really pretty place, and bringing back memories from the last time we were here. Laure's looking forward to going to the, what is it, the baklava place that we went to
Oh yeah.
for breakfast one morning when we were here.
I'm dying for baklava since we arrived in Greece. And Luke said, he said to me, since we are in Corfu, he said, no, wait till Lefkas, wait till Lefkas.
Tomorrow morning it's happening, I promise.
so I'm not sure if you can hear that, but there's actually some actions next door and a lot of noise because there's a catamaran coming in on the starboard side of Talia. We honestly didn't think somebody would come, especially not a cat, because the space is quite tiny. And so as I speak, there are met mooring with the anchor, and I don't want to look at it because it makes me nervous that something happened to Talia, and honestly, it doesn't look good so far. I've heard noises and screaming. So Luke is outside with a fender. There are a bunch of people on the quay ready to help them with the lines, but man, the space is so tiny, and I don't know how they're gonna do that.
Thanks for watching, guys. Join us next week as we set sail for Nidri in the south of Lefkas.
And continue island hopping to the gorgeous paradise of Meganisi.
If you liked this week's episode, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new here, be sure to show that subscribe button who's boss. See you next Thursday.
Cheers, legends!